the 21st of October 2024 at 4 p.m. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence. Democratic Services, have we received any? No? I'm going to take this opportunity because we have a new councillor, Jill Preston, welcome, joining the Scrutiny Committee tonight. So can we all introduce ourselves individually, please? Starting with Carwyn.
Yeah, Carwyn Morris, Head of Engineering and Highways.
Darren Chef, Highways Manager.
Councillor David Jones, Cabinet Member for Neighbourhood Services.
Mark Panniers, Environment Manager.
Paula Leighton, Vice Chair for Scrutiny for Neighbourhood Services.
Neil Howells, Performance and Scrutiny Officer.
Craig Watkins, Planning Manager.
Judith Jones, Director of Neighbourhood Services.
Okay. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and prejudicial interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government and Finance Act 1992 relating to the council tax, the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Members' Code of Conduct. Are there any members who wish to make a declaration of interest for any of the agenda items being discussed today? No? Okay, then we'll go on to the first agenda item, which is agenda item 3, Highways Maintenance Service Overview for 23-24. The report author is Darren Chaff and Carwyn Morris. I believe Cabinet Member Councillor David Jones will be given a brief summary of the report first.
Thank you, Chair. This report provides an update from the previous Highways report of September 2023. It provides an overview of highways maintenance working arrangements and how the various defects are prioritised. The report also updates us on the number of defects identified and complaints received and the time taken to carry out the various repairs. Table 1 shows the dimensional criteria for defects in the carriageways and footways, and Table 2 shows the category and priority of a defect and the expected time it will take to repair said defect. Current repair times are shown in the various graphs contained in the report. Where we want to be is shown in section 6, and what we want to do next is contained in section 7. Positive input to our corporate wellbeing objectives are shown in section 8. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are we going to Carwyn or, sorry, Carwyn or, who have I got there? Oh, Darren, is it? Oh, sorry, Carwyn or Darren. Are we going to you or are we going straight to questions? Straight to questions? Okay, then. Any questions, please? Councillor Clive Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Got a few questions. If we can go to page 7. It refers there on paragraph 3.7 to a scanner and scrim survey completed every year to capture the data for the Welsh Government performance indicators to identify the condition of the Council's adopted ABC roads of the roads within Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council. Unless I read this incorrectly, Chair, does this mean that roughly only just over a quarter of the road, all roads, are surveyed by this this scan and scrim every year?
Yes, that's the simple answer. But we do survey the unclassifieds every 6 years, just for our knowledge.
So, from that answer, Chair, this could mean that some roads, which are under A, B and C roads, could have possible defects, which may not be picked up by the highways inspectors, and we don't know what the problems are until the survey is undertaken. Is that Is that correct?
No, it's the inspectors are out there, so the scanner and scrim are looking at two different things to what the inspectors are.
Right.
The inspectors are looking for more sort of safety defects, as in, i.e. a pothole of a certain dimension or depth. Scanner and scrim is looking at the sort of texture depth, the rutting and everything else. So it'll give you a sort of overall assessment of the whole network. So they sort of assess it. If you look at the graph, what's the graph? Page 17. It'll show you in a RAG status then of how the condition has improved over the last 10 or 12 years, basically. So lower is better. So we in 2011-12 we started off on the A roads 5.5%, and 2024-25 we down to 2.6%. There's an issue with the data due to the rain in 23-24, so nothing was surveyed. So about 90% of Wales wasn't surveyed there due to the weather. But obviously, if you're looking at the figures, comparing them between 22 and 23, obviously now we're starting to rise now. So due to money and the condition of the network is starting to decline now.
Okay. Where we happen to be there on page 17, what does PAM mean?
I'm not entirely sure. That's just Welsh Government, whatever the numbers are called, basically.
Right. So it's not short for anything. It's some civil servants decided to call it PAM.
Yeah.
Okay. Still on page 7, the next paragraph down, you refer there, talking about surveys, and this is the last sentence. This data is analysed and assessed through the Horizoners software system and enables highways to sweat the highway asset to identify the most efficient way of resurfacing the road within budget. And it refers then to full servicing, Finitex and micro asphalt. How long does Finitex and micro asphalt last for?
Again, it all depends on the surface. But they wouldn't program the Finitex or the micro asphalt on normal surfacing. It'd only be if the overall construction layers are sufficient. So if they're adequate and it just requires some patching, the construction layer would be adequate, and then the system would flag up that it's suitable for Finitex or micro asphalt. If the system doesn't have good construction layers, then we'd be looking to resurface, but that would be a 40 or 100 mil inlay. So, but that's what the scanner picks up, basically. It can penetrate the surface to see what the quality of the surface is there like.
So, through you, Chair, it does the job, but it depends on the surface.
Yeah,
as
it says, it sweats the asset, so it can identify what the tarmac is, what the depth is, and then obviously it'll tell you what treatment you should be using to get the longevity out of your network.
So is it a short-term fix, or is that not correct?
It's probably a shorter term fix than a proper inlay, but you could probably do 3 times as much with the colder products than you can do with the inlay. So, you know, we got between £1.5 and £1 million to do resurfacing, and yeah, it's not sufficient. So we got to look at other ways then to sort of maximise that and analyse the data and stretch it as far as we can go.
Okay, thank you for that. So over the page now, Chair, under 3.11, it says refers to the current challenges that highways face, includes 4 points there. And the first one there, it refers to the continuous price increase of materials and services due to the cost of living crisis. Now, I think all members are aware that prices have gone up everywhere. But it does appear in certain places that prices have stabilised, and hey-oh, might even be coming down in some parts. Plus the fact that inflation's now down to 1.7%. So are the materials still going up in leaps and bounds?
The prices, but any oil increase will affect tarmac and concrete and all associated products. So basically any material highways use will have an associated cost to oil. So it will then go up.
So the very fact that fuel prices have come down doesn't seem to
The price
make
won't
a
go
difference.
down, no. It'll just
So
stay the same.
They've shot up.
Yeah.
And, whoever are the contractors or manufacturers, they're still getting the benefit of lower price, for fuel.
Yeah.
But it's of no benefit to us.
To us. No, that's correct.
In same page, it is under 4.2 works order data, and it gives some facts and figures about says 78% of priority 1 works orders are usually done within 20 days. The last sentence there says, although there were 56 fewer priority 1 works order complete and compared to 1,666 in 2021-22. Is that figure correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It seemed a phenomenal high figure to me.
Well, just to give you some idea, we're probably doing between 2,000 and 2,500 works orders a year.
Right. Okay. And on page 9, under 4.6, there's a graph there at the bottom of the page. And one of the items listed there is section 74 overrun. Now, I don't know about other members, I'm unsure what a section 74 is, but is that the one that applies to utilities or perhaps overrun their estimated time of doing the work?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you look at 4.6 is New Roads and Street Works Act data. So as you know, we got a street works manager and inspector. So every utility that has excavation within the highway, within the borough, they got to give us notice. So that'll be from a week's well, it could be 24 hours actually if it's emergency, from 24-hour notice up to about 2 years for any major planned works. So whatever date they start the work, they got to provide a start and finish time. Now, if they don't update the finishing time prior to finishing the job, then we can charge a fee. But again, them fees will depend on what type of road it is. So the unclassified will be a lower fee than an A road. And again, if you look at the fees, because most of the works now have been on, I think, the major roads, that's why the fees have increased then, because they've done, shall we say, less works, but probably on the more major roads which have overrun then for whatever unforeseen circumstances.
Right, thank you for that answer. Whilst we're on that particular subject, I'm aware that highways obviously have to investigate, and it's particularly with utilities where not a good job is done. And for example, if it starts,
Heaving or whatever,
moving downwards, we can get them back. They are then charged for that because they haven't done the work properly. Is that in the £26,000 figure, or is it apart from that?
Some of it all depend, because some of it would be inspection because they go to visit, so that would be an inspection. If there's something wrong on site, it could be an FPN, and we are also coring now as well, the reinstatements. So Welsh Water are not improving on their reinstatement stats. So we're actually coring 100% of Welsh Waterworks presently.
Right.
And we core in about 50% of all other utility works.
Right.
So any failures, they got to come back and put right down.
And I take it one of those is the famous Cyfarthfa Bridge, which they've only just recently. It's like a lovely ride, similar to one of the ones that you had on Barry Island. But I understand they've got to come back there because you sort of float over that up and down.
Yeah, usually they'll do a temporary reinstatement and then they got 6 months then to do a permanent reinstatement, because usually they'll do the temp. So this, especially on a major excavation, that the excavation can settle, and then they'll come back and do a proper reinstatement then.
Yeah, okay. Just the last two questions now, Chair. On page 14, it's under paragraph 6, where we want to be. 6.3 says one of the things they want to do is to source additional income streams to be able to further invest in Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council highways infrastructure. Could you give us one or two examples of what we're looking at with additional income streams?
Yeah, so I think it's a case of us probably approaching businesses that maybe have got car parks or access roads and things like that, where we could cleanse their gullies, do winter maintenance for them, that type of thing. Really, obviously, there might be businesses that have got street lighting.
All right.
So it could be a case of doing all the street lighting maintenance work. The lights could have gone to our management system as well. So obviously it'll benefit them because we'd be able to notify them of any defects before they even know. So it's things like that really. So it's probably, obviously we've got a number of supermarkets. And obviously with the retail parks, it's those type of businesses that we think we could speak to try and get some income.
Cyfarthfa Retail Park is an outstanding example, would you say, because that's in my ward, and a few years ago there was a huge problem with inadequate drainage. You'd find, for example, outside M&S, you'd be in 6 inches plus of water that hadn't run away, trying to cross the road. So are there any early indications that they might take this up, these sort of?
Not at the minute. As I say, it's for us to go and have conversations now with obviously the managers or the estates department of those sites, and then see where we go from there, really.
Okay, thanks. And one last one is under page 7. What we need to do next, 7.2, says there, continue to explore technologies to reduce energy, fuel and CO2 emissions. Could you perhaps give us some examples of what technologies we are currently looking at?
From a highways perspective, is low carbon tarmac, recycling with planings into tarmac, so we could possibly put up to 20% of our planing. So if you've got a resurfacing job, obviously the existing surface has got to come out, so we plane the surface, they take it back to the quarry, and then 20% of that product can go back into the new tarmac.
All right.
So again, less virgin aggregates, and obviously reducing your carbon footprint. Fuel, Unit 5 now is all recharging points, so we're waiting for some vehicles now to come to the end of the leases, and then we're looking to change them over to electric vehicles. And obviously street lighting then, solar lights and other products like that, really.
So on the question of vehicles, what is it now? Is it 70% of vehicles are all now electric run vehicles, or we haven't reached that?
We haven't reached 70, no. I think the target is 2035 for us all. So I believe Unit 20, vans and small vans are all electric. Some of the waste vehicles are now electric. Obviously highways haven't been able to go that way at the moment because we haven't had any charging points, but they've been recently fitted. So as I say, I think the leases up on the vans now are coming up in 3 or 4 months. So the beginning of the new year now, we'll be looking to replace them with electric vehicles.
That's great. Okay, thanks very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Bill Smith, please.
Thank you, Chair. Can we go back on page number 9, the runoff? Can somebody tell me when they're going to do the Gurness Ring Road? Because that's classed as a runoff, and West Water Board done it 4 or 5 years ago, and the complaints are coming quick and fast because the road is up and bumps all over the place.
Yeah, the Gurness Ring Road, that's still under the Future Valleys responsibility. Obviously, they took that road off us basically to carry out the work, so still under them. They're fully aware of it. Obviously, they are going to be resurfacing the road. It's going to obviously tie in to the works that they do with the new roundabout by Penedre School. So I haven't got any timelines of when they're actually going to resurface that road at the minute, but it will be done.
Right, because I was told it's under the Water Board because they tarmacked it last time round. It's all changed away.
No, well, obviously Welsh Water, obviously they had their contractors there to do the work, but it was all part of the Heads of the Valley scheme, which Future Valleys are obviously the main contractor for the work. So it's obviously, in terms of who does the work, that's an argument between Future Valleys and Welsh Water, but all I can say is it will be done.
Okay, great, no problem. The other part is that over the last couple of months, as Darren said, we had so much rain. Either it's the Mickey Mouse question, or can you tarmac in the rain, and then after a bit, after you tarmac in the rain, do you raise yourself, or you don't stick to the road? Because people are telling me when they phone in, oh, we only tarmac last week. Can't tarmac that because it's been raining so much, and the tarmac was sticking to the structure of the road. Is there any truth in that, or is it just lazy?
Are you talking patching, or are you talking...
Patching, because they used to put the super glue around the box, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, you haven't got to put... You should put it on the inside of the walls, but you haven't got to put the sort of bitumen on the top, because you could have skid resistance issues there. But it all depends on the sort of heat of the tarmac, really.
Right.
Maybe in the afternoon, if there's been a really wet day or whatever, and the material hasn't been kept warm, you may have an issue. But if the material has been kept warm, you shouldn't have an issue.
Right. So it's in between then, is it? Okay, fine. And the other issue is funding, right? The cost is rising and everything. Are we putting a percentage of the funding for next year for the potholes? Because you go there and talk to the public, they have to go to all the time about potholes, why, different roads. And again, you go up towards Prince Charles, the traffic is flying up there. There's more cars go up there than ever. So do we get money from Prince Charles for certain parts, or can we claim off it? Because some of the roads up there are ridiculous with the traffic.
Nothing I know of, no. The only funding we get is whatever is given from council, and obviously we got to prioritise accordingly with that, you know.
So what I would say is, obviously, the more income that we can get, obviously from the fines and things that we do, and obviously the more money that we've got then to put back into the roads to fill potholes.
I accept that, but the fines we paying ourselves, and that's the trouble. The normal residents are paying for the fines for the money to go back in the pot, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are travelling round. As you say, looking for extra money, like the retail parks and that. How do we get extra funding to support what we're doing? We can't put the council tax up every 2 minutes, because people just haven't got the money. So how can we work it better than different type of materials, everything else, now to work on it?
I haven't got the answer for you, but
Fair enough.
at the end of the day, we work as efficient we can. We look at all new technologies. We're always trialing products, and if there's anything better and cheaper out there, we will use it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is predominantly traditional sort of methods to do pothole and patching. You know?
Chair and Lock in the department, they're doing marvellous job. The rain we've had, the weather we've had, like, we haven't had no AC conditions, but the rain we've had, the damage and everything, any little hole, tarmac, pothole, give her a week in this rain and it'll get massive, like a
Yeah.
crater. So I'll accept that. But how can we get it quicker? Get our inspectors, they're out regular, but again, how do we keep on to it? Because some places are great denying potholes, small ones start big, small, and then they go massive. So it'd be a major problem.
Yeah, but again, you class it as a sort of pothole, innit? I think you've got to look at table 1 by there, what we class as a pothole, you know, that's the difference. I know you're frustrated out there, but at the end of the day, it's down to money. You know, we got a criteria, that's what we work to. So if anything comes in under that, we won't action it.
Oh, I know this is a pothole because we changed the pothole a couple of years ago, didn't we? Remember when we had the right roll again over there, through the courts? So I'll accept that and accept what size it's going to be before they backfilled. But you've got to tell the public that. And sometimes they won't accept it.
No, I agree with it. Yeah.
And we pick in the middle and we get a belt in. So anyway, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Phil Starr, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thanks to the report, Dan. Good read, and it was, you know, a suitable follow-up to the one that we had last year. There are a couple of issues in here which, on behalf of the committee, I'd like to raise elements of concern. One is in relation to 5.3, and in 5.3, there's a reference to a managed decline in the state of the road network, which is then followed up by the fact that 10 years ago, we were carrying out probably double the treatments of roads that we are today. So can you give us some clarification about what managed decline actually means? I think I can anticipate your answer, but can you give us some clarification on that?
I think you've got to look at page 17, where, as I say, over the last sort of 12, 13 years, we've improved, although we've sort of had a sort of steady state of budget. You know, by the way we've sort of analysed and managed the data, we've improved. But obviously now, with the cost of living crisis and prices going up, you know, things now for 24, 25 are decreasing. So you know, if the money stays the same, you'll have the same decline next year. And that's the issue we've got. So the less resurfacing you do, it'll put more pressure on the maintenance budget. That's the one that always gets cut. So at the end of the day, you'll do less potholes because you've done less resurfacing. And then you're in the cycle of declining.
Is there a programme for that? You're obviously anticipating the funding staying the same, not going up to the extent that you would want.
Well, again, I don't know what the funding will be, but at the end of the day, you know, I got a 10-year plan by what's actually telling me what the roads will be within 10 years with the same budget that we got, you know. So
and that then will see a decline in the quality of the roads in the borough.
Not just the surface then, as I say, you'll have, you know, will be a decline in the surface wear, but also that'll impact on the maintenance. So you'll have more complaints, more potholes, and then potentially more third-party claims.
Yeah.
So you'll tie your officers' time up in, instead of doing inspections and doing works orders, they'll be out the other way then doing third-party claims and attending court.
And thank you for that. I think that clarifies one of the issues that we had to that we wanted to bring up. The fact that with the current budget that you've got, you're working with almost one hand tied behind your back.
Yeah.
Right. So you're running just to stand still, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So thanks for that. There's one other one. If I can just have another one, Chair. 5.5 refers to even though customer complaints have reduced from 2024 or 2023 to 2024, the number of complaints completed have marginally fallen. So even though complaints have actually fallen, the addressing of those complaints have also fallen as well. And the key issue in there is complaints from vegetation obstruction. Can you give some examples of those kinds of complaints which are coming to you over the last year?
Yeah, we just had a new software system in, so it just allows me to sort of analyse the data that's coming in. You know, we know complaints now, we've had that for years, but, you know, quite quickly I can analyse what data's there. So what sort of jumped out to me then was the number of vegetation complaints coming in. The issue with vegetation, although you're sort of acting on them within 5 days, you can't close them down. You know, you've got land ownership details, you've got letters. So letters, you've got to give someone 7 days. If they don't do anything with it, you've got to serve a notice. You've got to get a contractor in. So there's a number of recalls on that. Sometimes you can't find who the landowner is. So again, then it affects the performance on that just because of the number of vegetation complaints coming in.
Are these complaints to do with the road or the pavements alongside the road?
Well, yeah, it would be the footpath or whatever,
Yeah.
or the sort of road. Yeah, any part of the adopted highway.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Basically, if it's vegetation that's causing an obstruction to the highway, so if it's overhanging a footway,
Yeah.
causing an obstruction, obviously that's when it needs to be cut back. But just to add as well, ecology is a big issue for us as well. Obviously, we need an ecologist to go and inspect first the trees or the vegetation first, and then advise when it can be cut back.
Yeah.
So that can cause another delay as well.
Does it include cutting of roundabouts and obscuring vision of drivers at roundabouts?
Yeah.
It will as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And just one other question, Chair, if I may. What's coring? You referred to it earlier on. I thought I'm not really sure what it is.
It is what it says, really. So you've got a utility trench or opening. They've reinstated it. So the coring, a company will come and take a core sample. So they'll take down to 150 mil depth. So they'll see if the construction layers have been put back correctly.
Okay.
So it'll identify lack of compaction. It'll identify insufficient fines. It'll identify any contamination. So any one of these, then it gets sent off to an accredited lab. The information comes back, and if it fails on one or a couple of other points, you know, we can fail out. We can get in, come in, and they've got to go back and reinstate as well.
Okay.
To a proper reinstatement. As I said, with that, but there, because Welsh Water, because we've been monitoring all the utilities, Welsh Water hasn't improved. So we're actually coring 100% of Welsh Water works at the moment.
Right.
And we're doing 50% of the other utilities.
Okay. And that will bring income in for the...
Yeah.
Is that income ring fence for you then, or does it go generally?
It is. So that's going back into highways, that is, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, Clive Jones.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This particular issue is not specifically mentioned in the report, at least I can't find it. But as must be included in relation to getting the roads up to speed and maintenance. Does this affect on occasions, or can it affect drainage works? Because I know that clearing gullies, etc., that's vastly improved to what it was. So is that still on track to be cleared and cleaned? Because that's part of the road network, isn't it?
Yeah, the report of the overview was basically just touched on carriageway potholes and that, because that's what the report was asked to do.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't touch on footway works really. It doesn't touch on drainage. There's a lot of other items we do that's actually not in the report.
Right.
So yeah, you know, you could probably have the same type of report just on drainage. To be fair, highways drainage. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from members, please? Councillor Clive Jones.
Well, Chair, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the department in relation to insurance claims, because I'm sure Bill, by the side of it, can also remember the fact that it's not all that long ago when we used to get quite a number of insurance claims throughout the year. But I note in the report and the insurance claims 5.7 that the council received 13 highway insurance claims, of which there was a repudiation rate of 100%. resulting in no cost to the council. That is definitely something to be welcomed. And in relation to sourcing additional income streams, I think we've had a very interesting answer to that. So I'm sure the members of the Scrutiny Committee look forward to the fact that we hopefully can tap into additional monies that perhaps hasn't been there ever previously. And clearly, we've got to go with the flow, particularly nowadays, to exploring all sorts of new technology. We're going to reduce energy, fuel costs, and CO2 emissions. So I completely welcome that particular fact as well, and we'll be interested to see what the outcome of those are. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. No further comments? All right. Thank you anyway, Darren and Carolyn. I'm sorry I forgot your name. You're welcome to leave if you want to. You can stay for the rest of the session. All right.
Can I say two things before?
Of course you can.
Yeah. Just looking at the report by you for Carriageway. You can keep that, Dave, if you want, right? Currently, to keep the highway network in the current state of what it is, it would cost 2.1 million for the next 10 years. And that's just to keep as it is. Each year. All right. And the other thing I'd like to say, obviously you've got workshops for saving money coming up. So I'd like to invite you down for street lighting to see if there's some other alternatives we could look at other than switching street lights off.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you both.
Come out. Because any new ideas, we've got to know and we've got to take it forward. Because we can't stand still, can we? Technology changing, is use it.
If we can have some dates, so they say we can send an invite.
Yeah, if we send an invite out to Neil and then we can pass it on to the members. And thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, then let's move on to agenda item 4, children's play areas and playgrounds. The report author is Mark Panias. Again, I believe Cabinet Member Councillor David Jones will now give a brief summary of the report.
Thank you, Chair. Play is an essential aspect of children's lives and contributes to their health and well-being, social skills and confidence. Play provision offers a sense of community and can improve social inclusion. In 2021, an independent report highlighted that many of the council's fixed play areas were in need of refurbishment, with many pieces of equipment requiring replacement or removal as they reached the end of their lifespan. The council has allocated capital funding for a refurbishment programme which started in 2021-2022, with several being completed and the next tranche currently being undertaken. The council currently manages 51 fixed play areas, and the condition of those play areas in 2021 can be seen in Appendix 1 on pages 23 to 25. The current summary up to July 2024 can be seen in Appendix 2, pages 27 to 29, though some of these have now been completed. Section 4 shows the capital spend on refurbishment of playgrounds since the early 1990s, and Section 4.3 shows that capital funding of £280,000 was allocated to playground refurbishment from 2021-2022. Members of this scrutiny were supportive of the works, but requested an accelerated programme, as it would take too long to cover all playgrounds. At full council in March 2022, capital funding of £518,000 per annum over a 5-year period was passed to shorten the period of refurbishment. Section 5 shows that 3 contractors were engaged through a tendering process and the values of each type of playground proposed. Section 6 shows the department needed to establish clear guidance for planning and development, consultation with local adults and children, and assessment of equipment and sites under the Equalities Act 2010. Section 7 looks at some different proposals regarding priorities, population growth and community group engagement. Section 8 highlights the contribution of the Council's well-being to the Council's well-being objectives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So we'll open it up for questions from members. No questions? Councillor Clive Jones, please.
Thank you, Chair. It refers to the fact, I think currently we've got 51 fixed play areas under 3.2. I've looked at the current list, and amongst those, some of those are recommended for being shut down. So I don't know when that decision is, if it's already been taken or it's due to be taken. So how many fixed play areas will that left to be done? Because a number of them have been completed. There must be at least, I think, 2 in the process in this current financial year. And then it leaves us with some of the sites, which it says in here, are okay. They're in a good condition, so they don't need to be done for a few years. So I'm sorry it's a long-winded question, but I think what I need to know, and other members of the Scrutiny Committee, is exactly how many fixed play areas are left to be done from 1st of April 25 onwards.
So currently we've achieved 14, we've refurbished 14 at the moment. There's going to be another 4 this year. So that's 18, and the following year, another 4 again, so that's 22. So out of that, we'll have 20 actual playgrounds to refurbish. I think we do to decommission 2 playgrounds on health and safety aspects. Annually we have a report done by the registered play inspectors. So they carry out inspections of all our playgrounds, and they recommend, and they're the ones who actually give us these dates, the shelf life of the dates for each playground. So as it stands at the moment, there's 2 that are being questioned as health and safety. So they've been locked, and they will be decommissioned.
So my maths, you've got a total of 18. You've taken out 14 plus 4 plus 4.
Yeah.
Taken 2 out.
Yeah.
So you've got 18.
18 left to do there following that, yeah.
That will make up to the 51.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make up the 51 because we've got those are just children's playgrounds. We've got additional sites then where we've got muggers.
Right.
And we've got kickabout areas, and we've got the skate parks as well. They're included in that 51. But actual children's play areas, there's 42 for us.
Right.
Together.
Okay. Another question is the costs, because under is where we are now, 5.4. On recent quote, it says the cost to refurbish a standard locally equipped area for play LEAP is between 90,000 and 105,000. The cost to refurbish a neighbourhood equipped play area, NEEP, that's confusing, LEAP and NEEP, is between 180,000 to 200,000.
Yeah.
There's 518,000 allocated per year for 24-25 and 25-26. So, for example, if you have 2 NEEP, that could cost a maximum of 400,000 according to the figures here.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be taking out the full 518,000. And if you had 2 areas called LEAP, that's between 90 and 105,000. So you'd have quite a bit of money left. Is that the way it works?
No, as I say, what we got four, sorry, so we got 4 playgrounds per year.
Yeah.
So out of those 4 playgrounds that we got this year and for the next financial year, there'll be 1 NEEP in that, and there'll be 3 leaps.
There'll be 1 NEEP.
1 NEEP, yeah.
Right.
That's proposed for each of those years,
Right.
those financial years.
So it's 1 NEEP and 3 leaps
Yeah.
to equate to the 580,000.
That'll equate then hopefully to the 518,000. But that obviously that'll be court based. So this year the quotes that we've had received to date, that comes within that figure. Obviously next year we'll have to wait. We'll have to go out for quotes again. So we may be over that figure. So we'll have to deal with that when we come to it.
Right. And going back to what we've got, the up-to-date report, a few of these, well, they happen to be in my ward, just as it happens, were leisure trust playgrounds, but managed by MTCBC. Clearly, since the leisure trust is no longer active in being, we now have full responsibility for that. Does that make any difference to the fact that we were doing this work on behalf of them, but no, we are fully in charge of them?
Yeah, it shouldn't make any difference, no.
Right.
Not at all.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Councillor Bill Smith, please.
Thank you, Chair. First question I ask, we got a playground in Cherry Grove. Is that still ours, or does it belong to Myth Valley Homes?
That is ours.
Right.
It was built by Myth Valley Homes, but it's been adopted by us for maintenance.
Right. So we're not going to put another playground there. Can we find out what's going to happen there to the bit of ground, because it's a mess. To be honest, it's 3 tiers. It's not flat, and we haven't had a playground there for the last 10 years, 15. But something got to be done because it's bringing the area down.
Yeah, as I say, so I will look into it for you.
And come back?
Definitely, yes. Yeah,
Yeah, great. Yeah. The other question then, we closed one down by Goiter Lane.
Yeah.
Ready for the new Goiter Primary School. And Neil sent us an email last week saying we had an old report, Neil, how long was that? For 10 years, a couple of years ago. Can we put that back on yet? Because it's been stated after school is when the school has finished work.
Yep.
So people know when that's going back, because the questions are having all the time that they don't know what's coming back, because they're doing the drainage and everything else.
Yes, that's Goiter Lane, yeah.
Goiter Lane.
Yeah, we look into that for you as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Philip Starr, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. You come back to Councillor Jones's point about the allocation of funding, 518,000 per annum. Obviously, the main focus of that will be refurbishment of a leap and 3 leaps, as you said. Out of that budget, though, that also must include maintenance for every other park of its sort in the borough?
No, it's purely for the refurbishment of those 4, yeah.
Okay, so on top of that refurbishment money, your department has an allocation of money for things like maintenance?
Yes, it does, yeah, but it's a general maintenance budget, it's not specifically for playgrounds.
Okay, but you then have to bid for money from that general maintenance budget, or is that covered by a different department?
No, it's actually within the parks budget.
Okay.
So it's an equipment and materials budget that we use. So if there's any issues with playgrounds, it'll come out of that.
Right, so that 515 is ring fence for refurbishment.
It's purely for the refurbishment of the play areas.
Great, yeah. Thank you very much. Come back to another reference to funding in your report. It mentions in 4.2 the fact that 928,000 has been spent on full or partial refurbishments, and it then refers to 2 income streams from Welsh Assembly grant money as well as community-led grant funding. Are those income streams still operational and available?
No, they're not. No, they finished at that time, so they're not operational at the moment.
Okay, so the money that has been allocated to you for refurbishment then has to come from other areas.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. I've got nothing to say on observations, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Gillian Preston, please.
Afternoon, Chair. It's only something that I've been thinking about in Stormtown, Trelawis. They've got no play area at all, and they play on a tree with a swing. Is there any likelihood that money could come available for a park in Stormtown? And would it count on how many children live there?
Yeah, as I say, we are looking, as I say, going into the future, we are looking to do assessment of need for play areas. So if you'd like to put that forward, then obviously we can look at that site and see whether there's something that we can achieve.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Clive Jones, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. On the list on page 23, it refers to Pant Park, 19 items. That's been removed as part of the A465 works. And it says here, now completely removed. After all the work is finished, completely finished with the Heads of the Valley, is the intention to reinstate that particular play area?
Short answer, yes. And we're currently working with the Future Valleys construction team to actually prepare designs now for that site. So we've received designs off the contractors, and we're in negotiations with them to see what we require from that site.
Right.
They put the design forward, and we weren't quite happy with it, so we put some questions back to them.
That's fine, but they'll pay completely for the reinstatement.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yes.
Well, they should, shouldn't they?
They should do it, yes.
It's had to be taken out of usage.
Yeah.
Used by them, Future Valleys Construction, so I would have thought we got a very good claim.
I think that's part of the agreement. I can check on that, but
Yeah.
as I say, I'm not expecting to pay for it.
No. And just one correction, under Care Hardy, the Hardy is not spelt with a Y. It's not Kisby Hardy, it's Care Hardy with an I.
Duly noted.
Thank you. Is there any comments from members, please?
From Clive, question about the Pant Park, as you know yourself and your husband, that would be then after Christmas, Clive. They're working at the moment now, right? Because they got to work with the car auction, and that's being changed. So just to clarify it, and everything will be paid for by the Valley.
Any more comments? No. Mr. Philstar?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. One thing I'd like to point out on behalf of the committee is we would like to congratulate you on the work that's been done recently in many of the playgrounds in Merthyr. I'm thinking in particular places like Trearis and Thomastown. I think they're fantastic assets to the community, really benefit the young people. And if that's the quality of the kind of work that we're going to see going forward, I think then we can be confident that the developments are in good hands. So thank you very much for that. And also though, as we go forward into section 6, I think where we want to be, it's very aspirational, as it should be, but there are things in there which I think as a committee we would like a bit more detail on the next time we get an opportunity to discuss this. For instance, how the local community will be consulted. To come to Jill's point about Stormtown, what are the systems and procedures in place to determine whether a particular area should get a new playground. We know from the potholes discussion we had earlier on what constitutes a pothole and how that is taken forward. Perhaps we would like to see some of the criteria that will be used in order to make that kind of decision about whether a playground gets developed or not, as the case may be. And also that there's a reference in there to things like clear guidance for planning and development of new areas. So I think it's the flesh and the bones of those aspirations which you've got in section 6, which I think we like to see at some time in the future, so that we can explain to people, yeah, the park is going there because there are a number of kids there, yeah, or because they haven't got anything else. Just those simple elements of guidance, which I think would be a benefit if we have to answer these questions in the future. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Clive Jones.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just think it's pleasing to note that we're on a journey with these playgrounds, which was started specifically, I think, in 2022. We got another 2 full financial years, I think, to complete it. We're in difficult economic times in all local authorities, wherever they are. And it'd take us years to recover from the austerity of the Conservative government. They've brought all public sectors to its knees. But in Merthyr Tydfil, it's all a question of priorities. But what was undertaken a few years ago was that this, as far as children are concerned, they need areas where they can play with modern equipment in all parts of the county borough. And we're achieving that. There's more work to be done. But what I'm saying is, compared with all the other priorities we've got in the local authority, we've kept this as an important matter. And I think that's the way to go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, for answering all the questions so well. And thank you, everyone, for the report. Judith, Craig. Sorry, Councillor David Jones, Cabinet Member.
Thank you, Chair. I think there's one important line in this, and it's been alluded to about the consultations, and it's in section 7.3. Sites which are supported and accepted in the community are better used and suffer from less vandalism. That's very, very true. And in Town Ward, we've got 2 that have been badly attacked by vandals and are currently closed. So I think as part of that consultation process, getting the local communities involved will be a massive step forward, and they'll basically look after it with a little bit of luck. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Chair. Just a comment.
Thank you again. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to stay. Are you welcome to leave? Thank you, Mark. Okay then, agenda item 5, the Forward Work Programme 2024-25. I'm just going to read a bit out here from this. There are still some gaps to be filled within the programme, and we need to consider whether this is a need for any activities such as workshops for any to be considered. Further discussions will be held obviously with the new chair, but do we have any comments now for the Forward Work Programme?
Already laid out, but as you said, just 5 minutes ago, new chair could be coming. So should we wait for the new chair to be in place and then we take it forward? Because otherwise, whereas if somebody new come in place, they might change it all. So it'll be all over the place again.
Yeah, that makes
it's a
sense.
mess.
It does, yeah.
Be like a bag of worms all over the place.
Councillor Clive Jones.
Yeah, now it's working. I accept that. But for the next meeting, because am I right in saying we took the, oh no, there's a biodiversity site visit, I misread.
That's item 8, that is.
Ah, right. So we've moved, it's traffic management, that's what we've done today, is that the roads, the traffic management is a completely set. So we're on track with that, Neil, to be there for the next meeting. Is that the only item will be on, or I read it wrong that the memorial bench policy will be there as well?
Yeah, memorial bench policy being a pre-decision item, that'll be coming along as well as the traffic management, yeah.
So there'll be 2 separate reports at our next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, great.
Okay,
Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, I think it's 2 separate reports in all the ones in the cycle of this, you know, of this committee. So it does seem there's quite a lot of coverage really. The only one that hasn't got 2 is the one in April. And as you said, that's a long way away, isn't it?
We said we'd fill it up as we go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One in March got 3.
Did we add to March?
There's one highlighted in yellow, pending outcomes of recycling item in September. So presumably that's a feedback one.
I think that's the way the how the page has been split, but the waste recovery targets and enforcement, that's pending.
That's linked then.
That's pending.
Okay,
the
yeah, I can
previous
see
report
that.
we done in September.
I can see the bottom column, the column on the right reads into one, isn't it? Okay.
Okay. Agenda item 6, scrutiny refers. I think that goes back to the forward work programme again, as Councillor Bill Smith said. Maybe when the new chair is in, you can all decide then going forward what's best, yeah? Agenda item 7, report recommendations. So did we address the recommendations in each report, and how have we added value? So the highways maintenance service overview is that the content of the report be discussed and noted in relation to the current arrangements for highways maintenance, and as a part of the council's statutory duty to inspect and maintain the highways within the county borough of Merthyr Tydfil. Do you feel we've addressed them? I think we have, haven't we? And also the children's play areas.
Everything within reason. The knock-on effect to us is the funding, and it's a big issue. Whatever we try to do, whatever, we haven't gone through halfway through the winter yet, have we? We've got January, February to come. But like, it's more rain and snow, but that's going to cause a major headache. And the funding package, I don't know where we're going to go for, because we've seen enough potholes that last us a lifetime. The last couple of months, I mean. So, you know, a couple of months on the line, I think we see a lot more.
It is a worry.
Right, and big pressure.
First start.
Thanks, Chair. And also the point I made before, but Neil came up with, after we had a meeting on Monday, Neil came up with a list of the playgrounds that they were prioritised rather than done by ward, and that was very helpful. So thanks, Neil. So we were able to see that kind of table is and should be available to us at any time. But I'm still concerned. There was a point I made earlier about the fact that the report refers to clear systems, clear guidance, how the local community will be consulted. We need to see what those systems are. We do need to see it, and perhaps even be involved in.
I think what Darren was saying was that maybe all the workshops and things like that, see what. Yeah. Sorry, Mark, and see how that's going to work.
Yeah, if the local community is going to be consulted, well, how are they going to be consulted? Is it going to be done through a meetings? Is it going to be done online? Is it going to be done through a survey? We need to see what their thinking is, because they need to gather as much evidence as possible from the right people.
Yeah.
If they're going to make a proper decision.
Councillor Clive Jones.
Yes, going back to the highways maintenance service overview, as far as I'm concerned, it was pleasing to see, because this is a major front-facing service who's, frankly, been up against it for years because of the allocation of monies. And I was pleased to see that they are particularly looking at other means of increasing their funding. They're going to explore technologies, which is obviously something that they must do. And the fact that we're going to hopefully source additional income streams, and this is my view, but I think on the private estates like the Cavartha retail, I'd be amazed. It obviously depends on what the costings are, but we're a contractor that's right on the doorstep that could be doing a damn better job than a lot of these private places have had done. You know, they've left problems for years afterwards, and I'm quite sure that we could do a much better job and increase our income as well. So those two factors alone should be raising the income and making us more efficient. And we've got to do that in this day and age.
What we did over the last couple of weeks about the new local development plan, the more houses that come onto sites like Hoover's and Dowlers, the more they can squeeze the utility companies and the contractors for the income which has been outlined in one of the tables.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
They're not the best for a long chalk.
I can still see you on my screen, Clive.
Oh, I finished, yes,
okay?
sorry.
Okay, thank you. Right, we'll go on to agenda item 8. Feedback on the scrutiny activities, any outstanding actions, feedback from the workshops, task and finish groups, inquiry days, etc. So we have feedback report, the biodiversity site visit. I'm just going to a brief summary here. A feedback report is included in the report pack relating to the biodiversity site visits held earlier this year. Various circumstances have prevented this being presented earlier, but offers members a chance to comment on the site visits or offer recommendations and aim to close the loop on this visit. So have we got any comments around the site visits?
And again, I can't remember so much what we done. I know we went down McCartney Way and all that type of thing, but yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel our visits went to them? They were all good though,
I thought
they were quite impressive.
I thought excellent because they knew what we wanted. They gave us feedback on what we want down that area. So yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And the LDP workshops have recently been completed. Members are welcome to comment. However, a feedback report will be presented in the next scrutiny meeting. Do you want to give any feedback on that now, or?
It was very good. I thought the officers come up, told us everything, what planning issues going forward, what planning issues in different wards, and how we take it forward. And to be honest, it was eye-opener.
It was.
Myself, it was eye-opener to see how much work is being done. You know, and
because we don't see it, do we? So.
And I hope we should have more consultation or workshops on certain issues that they've done in the LDP. Because we're not having that involvement, like parks and playgrounds. We want to get that involvement type of thing to know what's happening.
Yeah, I believe Craig said that, didn't he? Going forward, that's what we're going to be doing.
We've got to do something like that for us to know what's happening, for us to pass it on, and everything else.
And updates from other actions noted from previous scrutiny will be provided as and when appropriate. However, with a new chair to be appointed shortly, further discussions will obviously take place on the planned scrutiny activities going forward. Agenda item 9, any business deemed urgent by the chair? I have none. I now declare the meeting finished and thank you all for your attendance here today. Thank you.